The Untold Secret. In cities across the world, buildings designed by the illustrious architect Dominik stood tall, silently bearing witness to the ebb and flow of humanity. Each structure, from commercial complexes to residential skyscrapers, bore his signature. A fusion of modern elegance with an enigmatic allure, drawing all and sundry into their inviting embrace. Yet beneath the accolades and widespread admiration lay a secret, one that only Dominik knew. Embedded deep within each building, encased in walls of reinforced concrete and metal, were explosives. Strategically positioned at the most critical points of the structures, these explosives were undetectable, shielded away from maintenance crews, and safely hidden from prying eyes. But Dominik always knew, and he held the power to trigger them remotely, whenever he desired. His office, grand and filled with accolades, had a vault where he kept the most precious part of his work, a collection of custom-designed devices, each corresponding to a particular building. Every device, with its gleaming buttons and sleek design, represented his dominance over his creations. They were his masterpieces, not just for their design, but for the potential they embodied. To an outsider, it might seem sinister or mad, but for Dominik, it was pure art. He believed that the essence of creation was deeply intertwined with the potential for destruction. The knowledge that each of his buildings had an Achilles heel, a singular point of vulnerability that could bring it all down, fueled his creativity. This wasn't just architectural design. It was a dance with fate, a tantalizing game that only he was privy to. One evening, while admiring the city's skyline from his penthouse, a soft glow of sunset painted over the buildings, Dominik felt a profound connection to his creations. They stood there, magnificent and full of life, yet holding within them a dormant force, a controlled chaos. The idea that he, with a single press of a button, could revert these giants to mere rubble was exhilarating. He caressed one of the devices, feeling its cold metal against his skin, imagining the power it represented. But he never intended to use them. For Dominik, the thrill was not in the act of destruction, but in the knowledge that he could. It was a testament to his unparalleled genius, his unparalleled control. Yet even amidst this intoxicating power, a whisper of vulnerability lingered. His secret was a double-edged sword, and the weight of it pressed on him, a constant companion in his otherwise triumphant journey. About Dominik. The passion for creation and control ran deep in Dominik's veins, tracing back to a time when his world was much simpler. As a child, he would sculpt the wet sand into majestic castles on the beach. Yet he never allowed other children to touch them, not out of arrogance, but a deep-seated need to control the destiny of his creations. Before the tides could claim them, or other children could wreck them, Dominik would demolish his sandy masterpieces, ensuring that he alone determined their end. His grandparents would often narrate tales of Switzerland during the World Wars. Entranced, Dominik would listen about bridges, once symbols of connection, being secretly rigged with explosives to deter enemies. A nation prepared to sever its own lifelines, to control its own fate. The idea embedded deep into his psyche, the ability to destroy what one creates, to control its destiny, was an unparalleled power. As the years rolled on, the shadows of his past melded with his ambitions. It was not just the architecture that enamored him. It was the power dynamics that buildings represented. The relationship between the creator and the created, the trust people placed in brick and mortar, and the silent omnipotence of knowing he could decide their fate. Dominik's architectural style, celebrated worldwide, had a unique blend of robustness and vulnerability. At the heart of each structure was a point of intended frailty, a single, delicate fulcrum. To others, it appeared as a stroke of genius, designs that made spaces appear more expansive, with awe-inspiring central voids and intricate weight distribution. In reality, it was a marriage of necessity and aesthetic appeal, He was designing for both the eye and the explosive, the dual essence of beauty and controlled chaos. It was his magnum opus of functionality and potential devastation. The world saw Dominik as a visionary. However, beneath this image was a man grappling with a potent duality. His creations gave him an addictive rush, a high only he could fathom. The more accolades he received, the more he realized that his secret was the cornerstone of his creativity. Without this dark muse, he would just be another architect. Yet, as age draped its shadow over him, doubts crept in. He began to question the stability of his own psyche. What if one day, in a moment of emotional turmoil, he acted on the impulse to push one of those buttons? Would the weight of his own creation come crashing down, just as he envisioned for his buildings? It was an ironic twist, where the mastermind began to mirror the vulnerabilities of his structures. His buildings, resplendent and tall, were, in essence, a reflection of Dominik's spirit. Grand yet fragile, celebrated yet misunderstood. Each one echoed his inner battles, his struggle for dominance and his flirtations with self-destruction. The idea of pushing a button wasn't just about demolishing a building. It was about facing his own frailties, understanding the gravity of life and death, and the balance he tread between the two. For years, Dominik tried to wrestle with his addiction, seeking therapy and finding solace in meditation. Yet the allure was too powerful. He had tapped into a profound primal force, something that defined not just his art, but his very being. The addiction was both his strength and his downfall, and in its pull he found the essence of his genius. In a world where creations stand tall, testifying to humanity's spirit, Dominik's buildings whispered secrets of vulnerability, control, and the intoxicating thrill of absolute power. And in this delicate dance between creation and destruction, Dominik, the master of his craft, danced closest to the edge.